Greetings, Grey Witch here. In 1852, Julia Legare was visiting her family on Edisto Island in South Carolina. Not long after arriving, she became very ill and fell into a deep coma. She was pronounced dead shortly thereafter and was entombed in her family's mausoleum. Some 15 years later, her older brother, who was killed during the Civil War, was to be entombed at that same mausoleum. When the family unsealed the door, they found the skeletal remains of Julia on the floor just behind the door. The backside of the door was covered in scratches as she had tried to claw her way out in her weakened state. Her family, now suffering from unimaginable grief, buried their son, reburied their daughter, and resealed the tomb, and then that's when the hauntings began. Shortly after the family sealed the tomb, workers at the church noticed the door on the tomb was open. They noticed the door was scratched across the backside, but didn't really pay any attention to it, just closed the door and moved back on with it, and that was until they found the tomb open again. Each time the door was closed, they would find it reopened. Over the years, they tried various types of locks and chains, and even replaced the door several times, only to have the door opened again and usually covered with scratches. Finally, they decided to use a heavy stone slab to seal the door, only to find it pushed aside and covered with scratch marks again. Finally realizing that the spirit of Julia Legare would not allow the tomb to be sealed again, they removed the door, and it is still this way to this day. And they say Julia's ghost is finally at peace, knowing that no one will be locked in her tomb the way that she was. So of course, since I live in South Carolina, I had to go visit the actual mausoleum. And here it is. This is located at the Presbyterian Church on Edisto Island in South Carolina, if you would like to come visit this yourself. And you can see it's not a very big room, and it's actually a lot more terrifying once you get inside of it. Once you see the walls are about 8 inches thick. It's made out of stone, and there's no way anyone would have been able to hear her pounding on this door or yelling or anything like that. The church is about 50 yards away from this tomb, and there's no houses within the distance. So if you were not right outside this tomb, you would have not heard anyone beating on the door or screaming or anything like that. And plus, she was in a weakened state after waking up after her coma and was in here in the pitch darkness. I couldn't imagine it. But they've redone the interior of the walls. Looks like it's been stuccoed within the last decade or so. So you can't see any scratches. It is covered with mud dauber nest all over it because there's no door on it. So pretty much all the leaves and everything blow right in here. And as you can see, people have left all kinds of trinkets and whatnots for Julia. It's a pretty cool looking little place. It's a very old cemetery, so if you're into that thing, you want to come here and check it out. It's pretty spooky. It's one of those old southern cemeteries, and there's a lot of children's graves in this cemetery. It'll blow your mind how many infants and toddlers are buried in this cemetery. It's just horrible to imagine how it was back then. But it's a pretty cool place. It's kind of spooky too. Lots of spooky sounds in the woods, and every once in a while, a car goes by, but it's pretty nice out here. And there's one other thing I noticed in the cemetery. There was this one, grave tomb thing right here where it looks like it was pushed out from the inside. I don't know what's running around in the woods on Edisto Island, but y'all need to be safe. Something broke out. All right, this is Grey Witch. Hope this helped you out. I'll see you next time. Peace.